It feels like we're making more archaeological discoveries at the moment than any point in the human history. Breakthroughs in technology have allowed us to see things that can't be seen with the naked eyes, giving archaeologists new places to dig and new discoveries to make. Some of those discoveries are so incredible that it's hard to believe they are real, and yet they are. We begin in England, where archaeologists at the site of a new building development in Gloucester discovered a medieval era tide floor in February 2022. The expert team was invited to examine the site prior to the construction of a new multi-million-pound shopping centre. They believe their discovery dates back to the 13th century and was once part of the cloister of the old white Real Carmelite Friary. The tiles are a little cracked and broken, but are still in remarkably good condition considering their age. Local historians say that the friary existed in the city for more than 3 centuries, but very little was known about it prior to this discovery. In fact, nobody was even sure of its location before the floor was found. There used to be a multi-story car park on the site, and there is now controversy in the city because archaeologists believe it would have been impossible for the people who built the park not to have seen the medieval ruins under their feet. They should have reported the findings, but presumably did not want to delay their project, so they pressed on regardless. Still, finding it late is better than never finding it at all. Our next discovery isn't technically new, but recently experts have started to see it in a new light. It's the Lapis Niger Sanctuary, directly beneath the oldest part of Rome in Italy. The sanctuary is a remnant of the Comitium. Traditionally, Romans have always believed that the Comitium was the tomb of Romulus, the founder of Rome. The first excavation at this site was carried out at the end of the 19th century. They revealed the presence of a large black pavement, but beneath the pavement is a chamber dating back 2,600 years. The chamber is stuffed full of votive offerings, including the bones of sacrificed animals, religious idols, terracotta reliefs, and tiny figurines. The most interesting of all these things hiding down there in the dark is a horseshoe-shaped altar covered in what's thought to be the earliest Old Latin inscription in Italy. Experts have never been able to decode the inscription. Even the Romans of the imperial era weren't sure of the sanctuary's origin and treated it as a sacred space. The question of who created the sanctuary, when they did it, and why they did it remained unanswered. We're staying in Italy a little longer to check out the discovery from February 2022. It's a temple dedicated to the goddess Athena, and it was found in the Pistombalia area of Campania. Experts at the scene say that the temple is roughly 2,600 years old. Not everything inside is of Italian origin. Archaeologists have recovered plenty of pottery, which is a very typical discovery at any ancient site in Italy. But they have also found 2 helmets that were made in Aegina, that's an old Greek colony in what's now Corsica. It's also the scene of an enormous naval battle between the Greek and the Etruscans in the year 540 BCE. The Greeks were victorious in the battle, but it was a pirate victory. The losses they suffered were so great that they were forced to leave the island and set up a new colony in Magna Graecia instead. Bearing that in mind, it's likely that the helmet was taken as war trophies and offered to the gods as thanks for the victory. Having been left at the temple, they remained there for more than 2,000 years before modern-day archaeologists found them. The story of Buddhism begins with its founder, Siddhartha Gautama, but the religion did not begin to flourish until a few centuries after his death. One of the reasons that we can say that with confidence is because of the discovery of the Buddhist temple in Pakistan's Swat Valley in February 2022. It's one of the oldest Buddhist temples ever found, but the Buddha had still been dead for more than a century by the time it was built. The temple was built a little over 2,100 years ago, during a time when this part of Pakistan was under the control of an Indo-Greek kingdom based in northern India. The Buddha is thought to have died in the year 483 BCE, although that's by no means certain. What's left of the temple is little more than a ruin, but it's still possible to identify its ceremonial platforms and stupa. There's also what might have been a cell room for monks among the ruins, along with a staircase and the floor of a public courtyard. Wood rots, that's a basic fact of life. However, wood that is been at the bottom of the ocean has a better chance of surviving a passage of time than wood that's been left in the open. That's why the incredible shipwreck was still around the marine archaeologists to find in February 2022. The wreck was found off the coast of Flakenberg on Sweden's west coast. It's a medieval era vessel called a cork ship, and it's the oldest cork ship ever found in Europe. The oak used in its construction was cut somewhere between the years 1233 and 1240. What's left of the hull is about 30 feet long and 15 feet wide, but originally it may have been double that size. Archaeologists think that it sank because of a large-scale fire with evidence of severe burns to the wood. Historical record suggests that piracy has a huge problem in this part of the world during the 13th century, so the possibility that the vessel caught fire after being attacked by pirates can't be ruled out. Headless horsemen turn up in countless myths, legends, and ghost stories, but you are less likely to hear stories about headless horses. That makes this discovery very strange. In February 2022, archaeologists in Germany confirmed that they had unearthed a human skeleton buried next to the decapitated remains of a horse. The horse and the man were buried at the same time around 1,400 years ago. Experts don't know yet what to make of the discovery, which took place next to the town of Nitenyo. It's probably fair to assume that the horse belonged to the grave's human occupant, but why it was deemed necessary to decapitate the horse and bury it next to him is a mystery. If that discovery was bizarre, the next one is downright weird. For many years, there has been an exhibit in Midstone Museum, England, which was presented to the public as a mummified hawk from ancient Egypt. In February 2021, we found out that the mummy is not that of a hawk at all. In fact, it's not even a bird. This is the mummified cadaver of a stillborn baby. An amateur metal detectorate is every bit as capable of finding a priceless ancient artifact as a professional archaeologist. To prove it, here is a stunning bold brooch that was found in Percival, Wiltshire, England in March 2021. The brooch is closed in an ancient inscription, and historians think that the inscription might have been a magic spell designed to fend off illness. It's a product of the medieval era, and it was most likely made in either the 12th or the 13th century. The inscription around its edges is written in Latin and translates to "Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb." The brooch is tiny, so the ancient craftsperson who created it must have been incredibly skilled to etch such a long inscription into it. The Latin text is joined by 5 Hebrew letters, and these letters are what is thought to constitute the magic spell. Belief in magic was rampant in England at the time, and the practice of keeping magical objects on your person to ward off illness caused by evil spirits was widespread. A discovery made by a metal detectorist is one thing. A discovery made by a badger is quite another. This story sounds too absurd to be true, and yet it happened in January 2022. A hungry badger was directly responsible for unearthing the biggest collection of Roman coins ever found in northern Spain. While searching for berries and worms to eat in Grado, Austria, the badger opened up a crack in the ground close to its den, and the coins started to flow out. Unsurprisingly, the badger had no need for the coins. It left them where they spilled out onto the ground, and they were discovered shortly afterward by 2 archaeologists on a routine visit to the area. The coins were all minted during the 13th and 15th centuries. While the denomination are Roman, the coins were made in places from as far afield as Greece and Turkey. They did not get into the ground by accident, so it's likely that someone buried them more than 1,600 years ago as a way of keeping them safe. Whoever that person was, they never came back for their life savings, but the badger did. We just mentioned Turkey, so let's take a look at the discovery that was made at the Neolithic site of Hautahyuk in Turkey's Konya province in September 2021. There, archaeologists found a remarkable 8,500-year-old marble statue. The tiny statue is just 2 inches tall and is a prismatic representation of a human in a reclining pose. Experts have never seen a figurine quite like this one before and are uncertain whether it's supposed to represent a male or a female. However, the reclining pose might have been intended to signify the figure is sitting on the back of an animal, in which case it would traditionally be more likely to be a male. The style of the figurine's head is inconsistent with the style of other figurines that might have been found in the past. It's elongated and the triangular shape is very unusual. There are details on its neck that might have represent embroidery. Why this piece is so different from the norm of the site is unknown. It could be because the person it represents was somehow special, or it could just as easily be a piece that the artist threw away because they made a mistake. Someone who is said to be able to speak persuasively is often said to have the gift of gab, but it can also be said that they have a silver tongue. We all understand the meaning of that phrase, but what are we supposed to make of someone who literally had a gold tongue? In December 2021, archaeologists in Egypt opened a 2,500-year-old limestone Greco-Roman tomb in the ancient city of Oxyrhynchus, and they found 3 mummies waiting for them, all which had gold foil tongues inserted in their mouth. The mummification process failed on 2 of the bodies, leaving behind little more than skeletons, but the third is in such good condition that it even has all its soft tissues along with its hair and fingernails. The gold tongues are an odd sight to see, but experts on Egyptian history believe they might have an explanation. The Egyptians believed that the dead had to negotiate their way into the paradise of the afterlife, so it was essential for them to be able to speak eloquently. Having a gold tongue may have been seen as symbolically useful in this respect. Even if that was the reason, it can't have been a widespread practice until the discovery of these 3 mummies. Only one such burial had ever been found before. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, and you will be the first to know when a new video comes out. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.